They measure rice by palm lines with laughter and seasoned broth made from creatures' last gasps. You'd swear that they were teenagers again. Talking gossip, stretching limbs, elastic, durable, like seaweed. Come dinner time, skilled mouths slurp over domes of shrimp and crab. Oh, my bad. This is not a vegan poem. So sorry. My aunties, they prize the fat. The angles of their teeth splinter claw, snap sinew, dip tart into sweet, then back again. Bitterness balanced. Succulent on succulence is to find flesh from even the smallest of spaces. Women who swallow whole, who make a pile of bones, who suck teeth, taste every morsel until all that is left is a quiet room and shells of what once was. To the daughters of dried fishnets, whose dreams dragged on sand, dragged to this country, they bring home recipe years later, flick joints to garlic, salabat to the sick, culinary remix, teach my cousins, hey, this is how you stay alive in this cold country. Morning in the Midwest by taste bud. Afterwards, my aunties, they keep the ocean husks for another meal because to get a good deal, is to double. And anybody from an island will tell you that that is where the true flavor is. And what is hunger anyway? But the carving out of emptiness, the learning you gotta always save something for later. Thank you. I just want you to know that my jowly ass dog is snoring on the side. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like loud as hell. So my apologies. You're getting the New Jersey experience. How to make salabat, a recipe poem. Hoy, listen, this is how you cut the ginger. It's a root. She said from Chicago basement on the first snow of the year. It's the 90s. Snow is a big deal. Tear salt mixing ocean salt, she cleared her throat. Based on where we're from, nothing can prepare us for frozen. Fast forward. College friend asks, hey, how do you make that tea again? The one that you drink when it started to snow. I wanted to say my mom is dead. She made this every time it began to snow. I buried both my parents by age 25. Have you called your mother? Have you checked to see if there was a tumor slowly growing under her skin? What I recall most was her crying, which is a lot. Like making any drink really, pouring, which reminds me of something a friend once mentioned. Look, if you only write about crying and death, nobody will buy your books. And what I really do is listen to the same voicemail over and over, where my mother's throat is miles away, mouthful of liquid, steeped tea bags for lungs, just waiting for the right time to let go. What I actually want to say all the time right now is grief. Grief is the full-time job. What I want to say to my friend only mentions directions, which leads one to think about when my mother finally went back. A visit, she coined it. Vacation, which was code for good. 2 weeks later, she says in calling card staccato, I'm in bad shape, Anak. Which is migrant code for death. Words have multiple meanings. My mama taught me that. In essence, she was my first poetry instructor. This is how tongue is whittled dull. Abandoned building, once a home. When mother dies, I couldn't say that phrase for years, couldn't say she's dead. How in 3 languages, I don't have words for absence. A mouth becomes thud. English becomes harder to swallow. Did you know that on the worst days. I forget what her favorite song was, but that tiny eruption of her cough repeats in loop all the time now. Thank you. This next poem is called Sick for Sick, and this is for sick, disabled, queer people who love each other. And it doesn't have to be romantic, it's just kindred. So this is for spoonies out there. Sick for sick. Her body patched, swollen skin, hair flecks gone rogue, mismatched knees, ache knits quilt throughout curvature. A soft thing. She said, if we hum close, close enough that our chests touch, shared breath comes belly up, that is not platonic. Now, breathe same air. Nostril kinetic by way of brow cleft in migraine, syllables chop temples, strain is something to lull here. Together, when nerves are ablaze, I'm told to be blanket. Lay my torso on hers, abdomen to abdomen, core to core. Is this what a field does to a hill? Spill it with poppies? I wait on her skill. How she will smile, how she will sigh. The human body is the heating pad. Limbs bonfire, flip sheets. You can't reverse sick. Today, we don't want to. Chests pulse, softest lake. Come spring, we never do this again. There's only a memory of it. How her lungs cathedral, how I prayed there on the ledge of inhale, sternum sacred, coughed hymn, spasm luminescence, syllables stretched, muscles sacrament, more than splay. Us, petals in overlap. Us, an ampersand on fire. This is my last poem. This is what some people call from Mercury and Gatorade, Mercury and retrograde, Mercury. I know McKibben's laughing because I always read this poem because I just feel like my Mercury has been retrograding since I was born, you know? You're gonna hear my radiator chime in, so that's Mercury too, I guess. Tools to survive, Mercury in retrograde. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, everybody in the quarantine reading series. Thank you for all your work. I wouldn't be here without all your work. And thank you to all the sick, disabled queers who are creating mutual aid and Black, Indigenous, POC showing up for one another. Tools to survive Mercury in retrograde. Hide. Don't read old journals. You'll hate your poetry anyway, because let's face it, boo. No. Burrow your head into every crease of the bed. Talk to no one. Embrace the mercurial by yourself. Take everything personally. Take heed of your sharpness. Take stock of your softness. Watch YouTube vids of fluffy, pudgy baby animals. Keep protein close. Let the aches in. They're choreographed into the impending storm clouds anyway. Reach out once. Then curl into your skin to the speed of raindrops. Take nothing personally. Light candles. Crave any random set of foods not at your disposal. Okay, much better to crave green mango shakes and pampano rather than the people they actually remind you of. Regret doesn't deserve an answer. Believe it or not, now is not the time for 90s R&B jams, salty snacks, and the gluttonous. Don't let any of your friends quote you on that last statement. Hollow to the radius of any loss or any win. Let the wind through this gap of you. Remember, the guilt wasn't always yours to keep. Wipe residue off your altar. Let the rain on your face be a proper disguise. Drink cups of water on the hour. Let the dogs be a shield of oxytocins and paw pads. You queers out there, let the cats be a shield of oxytocins and paw pads. Let the lizards. Look, I don't fuck with lizards, but if you do whatever. Let them be a shield. If you can't howl, pay no mind. Your joints will do it for you. You know this already. Clasp your knees to your chest. Lullaby it out. Love. Let her go. Want. Whew. Let them go. Don't eat all the pastries in that goddamn fridge. Look, the problem isn't that you are not enough. The gift is that you are incredibly all too much. Hum yourself through. Your spirit will do it for you. If crumpled up, now is not the time to underestimate yourself. Remember, the fetal position is a damn fine place to write. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh my God, Kay. Y'all, I want to woo it up in the chat. Clap, stomp. Ooh, yes. Y'all caught on to that shit quick. Yes. All right, when that dies down, I'm gonna do y'all a favor. I'm gonna drop the link for Kay's newest book, More Than Organs, right up in that chat. So you ain't even gotta go nowhere. You can just right click, open tab, save it for later when you're done getting all this gospel sermon, juicy poet love realness at the end of the night. All right. Thank you so much, Kay. I'm so excited for tonight. And thank you everyone who's joining us. We got about 100 and some folks on Zoom. We got a couple 10, 20, 30 folks on YouTube. YouTube, y'all can get that chat popping over there too. I'm gonna be cross-pollinating between the two for the majority of the night. Kay's information for if you feel so moved and if you have the capacity, if you want to throw a little love their way via vis-a-vis let me stop. Venmo, please show them some love. And we're just going to keep it going. And I have the pleasure of introducing our next reader and reading their bio because I didn't have all my shit together because it's, COVID season. And what is life without a couple little stumbles? So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next reader who I am so excited for. Portia, you in the chat? Portia here. Cool. Yes, Portia. Hi. Hey. Portia is a Black futurist, poet, dyke, hip hop feminist, womanist. Portia is a native of Chicago who now resides in Boston. Olayiwola is a writer, performer, educator, and curator who uses Afrofuturism and surrealism to examine historical and current issues in the Black, woman, and queer diasporas. Them all my diasporas too, so I'm really excited. She's an individual World Poetry Slam champion and the artistic director at Mass Leap, a literary youth organization. Shout out to the youth. Olayiwola is a MFA candidate at Emerson College. Shouts out. Portia Olayiwola is the author of I Shimmer Sometimes Too. Cop that book today. Forthcoming, it's out now with Button Poetry and is the current poet laureate for the city of Boston. All right, y'all know the deal. Y'all been practicing. Woo-woo in the chat. Zoom, woo-woo in the chat on YouTube. Clap it up. Take it away, Portia. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank y'all for having me. I'm so sorry I was late. I was in another Zoom because that's what we do nowadays. We just Zoom. Y'all all look so good. Everybody looks so good. Scroll through the group chat. Okay, I'm gonna read 4 poems. The first, I've been working on 2 things really. I've only been writing about 2 things: Black people in water and queer sex, gay sex. So that's where I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with this piece about water. It's about Dorothy Dandridge, who was a famous actress, singer. People say she was before her time, but she was before the civil rights movement, which meant she didn't get the opportunities afforded to her. And there's this legend, this myth, this story that goes that she was singing in Vegas at this hotel and she walked past the pool and was like, "Oh, I can't wait to get in the water." And they told her, "We'll have to drain the pool if you get in it." Because Black folks can't get in this water. So this poem is about a reimagination of that. And it's called Dorothy Dips a Toe into a Hotel Pool After Being Warned the Water Would Need to Be Drained If a Black Person Swam in It, 1953, Las Vegas. And all at once, without and within, each well of wet everywhere swelled dry. The woman in the shower, shriveling, shaken, bare. The cook steaming at the sink and faulty faucet. The rust keening and dragging itself through pipes. Chalices unfilled, air wilts the face. Moisture abandons the flesh, the breath, the girth. Water unflows, reruns away like blood fleeing a wound. The swimming pool, brimming moments ago, now hold mothers who hold babies, dry sobbing at its base. Hip and ankle bones protrude at odd angles. Guests at the last frontier lay leisurely, their bodies broiled brittle on the deck. The yes, cascading over a no, is the black spell. The anti to the anti, all kept from me in spite, shall spite keep from you with force. And in another land, unpromised, the color blue opens and spreads to blanket each eye. Dorothy stands at the water's ledge. Her curls and linen lie loose. Her skin, cool and sweet, sings a song unsang but known. Dorothy, a tall tide, coaxing herself into herself. Dorothy, a good curse, moves until waves wade at her waist. The dancing wet rushes to gather at her hips. She cups the clear in her palms and splashes upward. Dorothy lifts her arms, and ocean rain urges the body to name itself religion. Dorothy splatters, and ripples bring forth a sanctum. Each droplet is plenty for the city's southeast. A shower gives itself to the children on 83rd playing at the hydrant. A spray fills the pot of collards on the back burner. Another flows through a school's fountain once lined with lead. Dorothy swishes water into the sugar breeze, and it lingers in air. No one thirsts. Moisture soothes a lonely throat. Dew demands a mother's seeds to grow. Dorothy raises the ocean, and oh, I want to tell you how her hands cradled full drops toward the sky, how the water could hardly stand to let her go. Boom, boom. Okay, I'm moving. Water, wetness, right? You follow me, you follow me. So I'm gonna do some, I don't know, some sex poems, some erotic poems. I just keep thinking about writing the work that I want to see or that I want to read, or I didn't know that I needed, you know, in the context of thinking about what it means to be big and dark and fat and living and sexual and desirable and all of those things. So I've been writing those poems. This is called, She Says the Hotel is Nostalgic. Just like when we first started, and the room was a necessity, not because we were young and in lust, but because we were women who devastated the intentions of men and mothers. It happens, not as often as it did. Some $200 spent in fervor, and we own a city skyline. Her thighs enfold my ears, and it's got to be the crisp sheets, the headboard, the expanse of legs and leisure that wrings us into gentle, ravishing thieves. I like laying on my back, her sitting, swallowing my mouth. How enchanting. I can extend myself inside of someone I love. She homes my tongue and bounce, ass pressing onto my chest, her clit licking my lips, mugging my face wet with each kiss. Boom, boom. Never been good at transitions or endings, so I'm just gonna be like boom, boom in between. I hope people are keeping, you know, their mouths and throats moisturized. I'm taking a breath myself. This, I'm gonna do two more. That's cool, that's cool. Okay, cool. This is called Right Now. It is unedited, so don't nobody judge me, please. Thank you. But if you do have some edits, feel free to text me. No, sir. This is called Self-Portrait with Vibrator. A machine, a machine, a machine. I tell myself no. A person, poker mug, and kidnap sentiment. I am a fucking machine. I am fucking a machine. I am fucking myself with a perfect black beater buzzing buzzer, beat her buzzer. I am laying on an estate of comfort and secrets. My body is a chalice secret. Cold the lovers could not wisecrack, a treasure. Find me fawning and fainting you want. I can't explain it exactly. Just know the robot fucks me well enough. I come, scream, squirm, and evade the betrayal of a face and orgasm. The ease of being alone, the worry of only the longevity and the life of batteries is what tips me to the fucking moon. On a daring night, I let my lover hold me despite my body being massive, unholdable, spilling over. In the right mood, I am a field of legs wide. I help her help me. I lawn the bed. Her lips slide mine. She holding our robot right there, right there, right. And when my lover asks to touch my nipples, I say yes. And I do. I pinch, pull toward them. I pound the vibrator around, close my eyes, and shake. I shake, I shake. I am a machine. Woo, okay. I'm gonna work that one out. Got the edits already in my head. All right, so this is my last one. Yeah, this is the last one I'm reading. It's not about queer sex or water. Surprise ending. But it is kind of like a piece at the end of a choreo poem that I wrote. It's called Black and Ugliest Ever. And it's about, the choreo poem is about navigating the world again as masculine center, fat, queer, Black, all of the things, and then some, right? And this is kind of like the resoluting piece, if you will, in this exercise and joy. And it is a monologue, and the main character is, currently gulping down a whole bottle of wine as some context. So I'll do this, and then I'm gonna just get on out of here. There is no resolution to this. No resolve. Stop waiting for the grin ending. It was at the start and you missed it. You let it pass you this whole time while you was sitting there contemplating me. It was the singing and the prelude at my lips' initial parting. Ain't a song a joyful glee? Ain't my voice a sweet banshee tune? Do not wait for the glory shining out a shimmy from my skin. Don't turn all hope expecting me to announce and proclaim a love for myself. That ain't this. Though it is there, a love. But love don't discount the lard my body is made up of, do it? It don't tarnish the dark light, nor unnap the head, the woman ugly in the 3 a.m. mirror. Every day is a struggle. Me living, trying to make the next. Some days, I wish there were less of me. And that is solution to, I walk around this world, a bright orange kite burning, flying high in the sky. I'm visible. Hyper visible is what I mean. I'm seen, hard to miss and convenient to ignore, but I still say hello, say how you doing. I cackle, I dance, and that is my resistance. There is no solution. Today, I know I am worthy, and that is the poisoning of the food. Tomorrow, I will think I am ugly, will beg to be thin, and that is a white woman's justice feeding from my left breast. Each twilight, I can be both. Ain't no solution, no happily ever after. Each day, I fight with the world. Each dusk, I square up with myself, say, don't hide, gorgeous. Say, don't cry, ugly. My sorrow will cradle you a peaceful lullaby, but my joy My joy will kill you. Beware. I am loud. My imagination is dangerous. Watch out. There is no resolution except someone naming my death, and I'm not the type, so I live. And that is the act of defiance. The march. I breathe. I inhale this pollution shit around me. I hold air close, rock it back, swish it forth in my hefty lungs. I exhale it out and call that civil disobedience. Say shit. You hear, you hear, you hear, girl. Come on, get your hands to the clouds. Praise me, give me all the glory. Call my name chief, gigantic in the streets, parade and celebrate. They tried to kill me. No, I tried to kill me. I tried to kill me. I tried to kill me and I failed. I failed. I failed. I failed. No, I'm here with a heart and a belly and a spirit and a skin and a mind so dark, so filled. I'm so filled with darkness. I'm so full and it's all mine, y'all. I'm all mine. Thank you.
Now you won't have no damn right making me cry before we even been on this call for an hour, y'all. Woo! Everybody just take a breath. Come on, together. 1, 2. Bring it on in. 3, 4. Let it on out. Come. Woo! Chat's going off. Somebody said, well, fuck. And that's all there is. There isn't anymore except go ahead and cop I Shimmer Sometimes too. You ain't got nothing else to do during this damn quarantine. Come on, read that book and get your life. Portia's Venmo is, I just saw somebody ask, thank you for asking. I'll drop that in the chat. Keep your eyes on the chat. I'll drop that. Thank you so much, Portia, for that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful offering. And what a lovely segue into more fierce and ferocious poems. Are y'all ready? Can you stand it? Because I'm about to introduce my good friend, mentor, idol, homie, Rachel McKibbins, y'all. Rachel McKibbins is a 2-time New York Foundation for the Arts poetry fellow and author of 3 full-length books of poetry: Blood, Pink Elephant, and Into the Dark and Emptying Field. A finalist for the Patterson Poetry Prize. Her writing has appeared in numerous publications, including Plowshares, Academy of American Poets, Poem-A-Day, and Highlights Magazine. In 2012, McKibbins founded the Pink Door Writing Retreat, an annual writing intensive open exclusively to non-men writers of color. Come on, y'all. McKibbins is a member of the Women of Color Arts Collaborative and co-curates the critically acclaimed reading series Poetry and Pie Night out of her bar in upstate New York. And speaking of that fantastic, well-acclaimed bar, Rachel has had, like so many small business owners, has had to shut her doors for a second. So again, if there's anything that you can give after you listen to them poems, go ahead and show some love her way. I think, Rachel, you're also running a crowdfunding thing right now for the Pink Door as well, right? Okay, yeah, absolutely. So what we need y'all to do is support women of color, non-men of color, femmes of color, fabs of color, who are, gifted year after year after year by the Pink Door. In fact, there's people on, tonight's roster, from last night's roster, from tomorrow night's roster, who have all been touched and blessed and changed by the Pink Door Retreat. So when we say institutions like this are about community, when we say we are not alone, we have each other, the Pink Door Writing Retreat is something that is just a testament to that. So I could talk all day about Rachel and the Pink Door Writing Retreat. I won't, because them poems will speak for themselves. Y'all clap it up. Woo woo in the chats. Both of them. Take it away, Rachel. Thank you so much.
Una lección, Bruja soliloquy. I arrived one body part at a time. First, the scalloped middle, blue-roped torso, eyes, nose, and ears blood-licked. Then the blur of this electric mouth, the wet unfolding of my arms, legs, and fists. The last, of course, this cauldron of a cunt. The nurses delivered me to my parents on a dinner plate. Father howled, My mother thinned down to a milkless shadow. I've always been a God-hammered girl. Dirty as a turnip, I crawled into the blind center of the earth, a worm built to outlast the swallow. When I was young, I kissed the girls too hard, riddled my tongue with my father's profanity. I thought this was how to become a boy. Bent daughter of a six-fisted man, I wanted the safety of a cock, permission to roar. Dumb as the moon, I knew nothing of this body other than the violence it ignited, how my bones reeked of motor oil, my every opening a socket to blacken each heaving finger. Who would ever choose to be the damaged house? Better to be the demolition gender. Cinder block and dog rotted, I strutted the world, turned the mirrors and swore off every version of myself. It wasn't until the third time my body was taken from me that I learned how to love it. Now I walk the streets, forcing men into uncomfortable eye contact. You wanna fuck with me? I wanna fuck with you. What greater burden, what more unconquerable revolt is there than that of a resurrected woman, ripe with vengeance, I termite. Tomorrow I'll button my blouse with a dozen kitchen knives and cast your dreamless skulls into the cemetery soil, and that's just breakfast. I own my blood. What you borrowed, I will come back for. Scratch your name into a coffin nail. Find it in hair and wax, an ungentle ceremony for your ungentle hands. O captive, my captive, I have coined your suffering song, have driven you back into your hellish light. Let the drilling of the worms be your only sermon, the wasting of your flesh, a salvaged psalm. Listen, anything holy is not reversible. There isn't a man alive who could undo me. Woo, fun times. I hope you fuckers can hear me. I'm here we go. Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me? I'm worried. Yay! Portia, I'm so, it's so great to share space with you. You make me just feel very alive in a time when I don't even, the Sandbox for Lisa or Lori. In Sunday school, I had an affair with these two twin girls, and they were little blonde girls that I couldn't tell the difference between them. So this is for Lisa or Lori. The Sandbox. We held each other in silence, mouth against mouth, blood and thunder scorching the grass. Behind the shed, I played husband, brutish breadwinner, choking her flesh in my troubled hands, pulling her head back to lick from neck to ear in frenzied thrill, the kind of love I learned from movies. And what light swamped the air as I shoved my bald pelvis into hers, blood ripening into wolf brine, burning a girl-shaped hole in the clover. Every afternoon, I became God reinventing sky, expert forger of the dry hump. I asked, who's your daddy? Before that was even a thing. Once the recess bell rang, I released her back into the quiet, unwild, to no longer mine, to fat white tubs of minty paste and songs about Jesus. From across the room, I watched my bride make eyes with the real boys and knew I could kill for her, drill a body down into the earth, boy in a Polaroid, a grisly figurine. The white horse of masculinity, bucking wild on the inside, I bit my lip and did as I was told. After school, I wanted to hold her hand. She always wanted a divorce. When the big kids followed me home, calling me lesbo, homo, wetback, faggot, I held my chin out and challenged to fight them all every time. And why not? Might as well. We all knew I would never win anything. Woo-hoo. All right, I'm gonna read two more. I feel like I went over time already. I'm ashamed. There's like almost no concept of time anymore. I don't even know what day it is. I'm very grateful to all of y'all. It's just such a tremendous honor to be a part of the community, especially when I live upstate, very far away from everything I feel. And you often feel like you're writing and reading in just a little box. To share space with folks who I adore so much. To hear your voices is really uplifting and medicinal for me. That's all. Yeah, word. For Carol, who is no one. Mother, ooh, I hope she's watching, stupid bitch. Mother, you lousy walk on, you muddy old bitch. I've become your good daughter. I've written you a part big as the Mississippi. I have authored you a new womb filled like a gas chamber. Here is your fat mouth brimming with pills. This is no poisoned apple movie star spell, mother, you still are what you are. A plotting, mirror-bitten hag who hobbles the halls like a jilted landlady, babbling on and on about your ghost-skinned girl, your angry daughter, your bad invention. Where did you go for so long? Why did you leave us alone with the woodsman? Do you know I have 5 dizzy dwarfs of my own? They've heard all the stories. They know your real name, Carol. Carol, we sing knots into your hair and piss on your soap. We've built you a castle covered in witches. And if you should come, dear mother, to visit us, we will serenade your face with a choir of hammers, feed you to the river in a dress made of stones. Finally, actually, you know what? I'm gonna read some 2 little new shits. How about that? So I have chronic pain. In fact, my swelling is really bad these days, just from all of my fucking stress-related flare-ups. And I wrote this last year when Kay invited me to an AWP, that I just decided like, oh, you know what? And I knew shit, I mean, I've only read it once. But it was written within the last like 12 months. Anyway, the first time I was administered morphine, I had a complete panic attack. And it was because it was the first time I hadn't felt all of my body's pain. And I didn't feel tethered anymore to the world. And I realized that I kind of rely on the pain to remind me that I'm here. So this is called Stockholm Syndrome. Nurses take my blood and piss, then needle me to sleep, terrified of an opiate's bliss and never want the drugs. Side-eye anything that fools my body out of its pain. Modern day sorcery smothers me, a wingless witch, quick to winter. Wake up cold, grieving the missing noise. Am I pain's weary wife, or is she my loyal bride? How do I explain? The body learns to crave its grim anchor. Going numb can be a blessing, yes, but I choose to wife my most familiar tenant. Devoted little shit, I fold. Prayer for a new decade. This is just some goofy shit I wrote a couple months ago. Lord, grant me a deathless year, a fist committed less to memory. Grant me good dental, rough sex, a blushing bitch to forgive. Grant me sisters ready to eat my enemies, a house full of gentle ghosts, my father's head mounted above the mantle. Grant me a tender butch fixing to get her ass bit, a moonlit field, legs for running, job security, a living wage, a found clit. Grant me painless mammograms, multivitamins and good dick, infinite bees, a lasting planet. Grant me a working dishwasher, 24-hour libraries, newspapers singing the president's obit. Grant me a table and food for all my kin. I'm done, leave me alone.
Wow. Very Rachel ending. Like, shut up, get out of here, I'm finished.
Quit looking at me.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Woo woo in the chat. I see everybody is going up in the chat. Y'all are, this is everything I could hope for. Thank you all so much for participating in such a kindred ass way. And thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing with us. That was beautiful. Just a reminder to all of you all that beauty you can continue to support for eons and eons to come by donating to the Pink Door Retreat. We need spaces like that. Even if you don't know that you need Pink Door because you personally ain't allowed to go, don't mean you don't need Pink Door. Cough, cough, white cis het men. Moving on. We're moving on. That's the only time I'm going to do that. Maybe no promises. All right. Thank you so much, Rachel. And now I have the esteemed honor. Well, first, we're a little ahead of time. So let me just take a second. How we doing in the chat? How's everybody doing in the chats? So good. So good. Good. Cute. I love when we're doing cute. I hope you have water. I hope you have tea, wine. Yesterday, Luther Hughes had a glass of wine. We're gonna, continue to live in that spirit of a robe and a glass of. That's my mood for the entirety of this social distancing episode that we're all in right now. Yeah, good. I just want to do a good check-in. I also want to do something that Alexis Pauline Gums brought into the space yesterday that I usually do in my live sets. And then for some reason, now that we're in this space, I have forgotten all my ritual things. And I'm just going to unforget those really quick. And so I want everyone to just take a second and in all of this, this hectic ass politicized space that we're in, I think we are often encouraged to be living in active fear. And I want to ground in something different right now. I want to ground like we are in community. I also want to ground in one another. And I am, of course, a Black person. And I believe profoundly in the idea that I would not be here if my ancestors had not done their work. And so I like to bring them into the space everywhere that I am. And so if we could, in these chats, if you could just name, even aloud, if you could call in 2 people who you want to bring into the space, 2 people who give you strength, 2 people who, looked out for you, who saved your ass a couple times, even if they weren't, kindred by blood, kindred by lineage, kindred by, folk from your block, from your hood, from wherever you're from. If you could just name those folks. I see you, Lex. Lex is bringing in their grandmother and their cousin. Thank you, Charlotte Abosi, Ray Allen Courtney Jr., Rita Gamez, DJ, Soap, David Dizon, Toaster. If any of our panelists, any of our readers want to add some folks into the pot, we can. Just add those folks in. I want us to feel really full with all of our folk today. Adina McCoy, may her memory be a blessing, Ashe. Sarah and Julie, Gina Burlock, Morgan Parker, Ashe. Grandma and Liz Sanders, McKenna and Kendall, Yolk, Mark Aguar, Phoenix, Taisha and Nadia. Come on, YouTube chat, where y'all at? Call them in. Iris, Ashe. Lisa, I say Fash, Ashe. Beresford, Hain, Piper, Margaret, Michelle, Wanda Coleman, thank you. Moses Sumney, thank you. Catherine and Kara, thank you. Gabrielle Bullion, that's a beautiful name. Muggs, come on, Muggs. Come on, Kat Noel over on our YouTube chat, bringing in Octavia Butler and Toni Morrison. Ashe, we can't do nothing without them. Terrence Hayes, come on, God, come on. Armenia y Roberto, Luisa Rodriguez, Ashe. Oh, and happy birthday to Muggs. They're 29 today. Ashe, thank you for bringing that celebration into the space. We're still celebrating despite all this wild stuff going on around us, right? All right, thank you all for joining in that with me. Angel Nafis, Sonia Renee Taylor, thank you, Rachel, for bringing in Sonia. Merv, thank you, Nabi. That was so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing with me and with one another, all of our folks, whether they're our Igun, our ancestors, or if they're just folks who keep us going. I want us to just continue to hold those folks dear. If you pray, pray for them. If you chant, chant for them. If you woo, woo, woo for them. And I just think that I just like to continue to remind folks that we're not alone. And that's one of the main reasons why I really wanted to do this reading series was not just for me, but just because I'm such an extrovert and a Sagittarius, and I hate moments like this that make me feel sequestered and siloed, and that is never the case. So thank you for shouting all them folks in. You can continue to do that while I introduce our feature for the night. I don't know what that accent was. Oh my God, y'all. Portia, I see you laughing at me. Shut up. Hanif Abdurraqib is a poet, essayist, and cultural critic from Columbus, Ohio. His poetry has been published in Muzzle, Vinyl, Pen American, and various other journals. His essays and music criticism have been published in The Fader, Pitchfork, The New Yorker, and The New York Times. His first full-length poetry collection, The Crown Ain't Worth Much, was released in June 2016 from Button Poetry. It was named a finalist for the Eric Hoffer Book Prize and was nominated for a Hurston Wright Legacy Award. With Big Lux, he released a limited edition chapbook, Vintage Sadness, in summer 2017. You cannot get it anymore. He's very sorry. Aren't we all? His first collection of essays, It Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us, was released in winter 2017 by $2 Radio and was named a Book of the Year by BuzzFeed, Esquire, NPR, Oprah Magazine, Paste, CBC, the Los Angeles Review, Pitchfork, and the Chicago Tribune, among others. Yes, it was that good. Go ahead and cop it if you haven't already. Don't worry, we won't shame you, or maybe a little bit. He released Go Ahead in the Rain, Notes to a Tribe Called Quest with University of Texas Press in Feb 2019. The book became a New York Times bestseller and was met with critical acclaim. The second collection of poems, A Fortune for Your Disaster, was released by Tin House Books in September 2019. Yes, he would like to talk to you about your favorite bands and your favorite speakers. Woo woo. You all, all caps, all right? All exclamation points, numerical things, hashtags, whatever in the chat. Clap it up, stomp it up, amen it up. You all give it up for Hanif Abdurraqib. Thank you so much, Hanif.
Hey, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Cool. I'm going to read all new things. I'm going to read 6 poems that are all new. I was watching, I'm someone who watches sports, and I was watching basketball maybe last summer, last winter, or one of those seasons. And something had happened where commercials had come on, and every commercial was for a different TV show about like a different police station or a different like drama about cops. And I had this revelation where I realized that like literally every TV show, I don't watch a lot of like network television, so it hit me like every TV show is like about cops now. And I was lamenting this to someone, like one of the homies, and they're like, yeah, but it's kind of always been that way. Like growing up, there were a lot of shows about cops too. We just watched them. You know what I mean? Like we just liked them back then. And I was like, well, that's not true. But then as I was like moving through my whatever the fuck, I realized it kind of was true. And so I wanted to kind of write these poems. I mean, I come down on the side of police abolition pretty firmly, but I also think about what it means to have grown up with a lot of media that just kind of like valorizes police naturally. And so I wanted to write these poems about yeah, police and television. So I'm gonna read about 6 of these. I apologize that my hair is in such bad shape. Like many people, I haven't gone to the barber. But I will say this, if you have a barber and your barber is out of like commission, as I suspect many people who have barbers are, if you have the means, and when you're thinking about like mutual aid, think about like paying your barber for the cost of a haircut now, with the tip, and then like maybe just like letting it be a future thing later. I thought about this because I really want my barber to survive this. I want everyone to, but I thought about my barber. Anyway, so all these poems are the same title, and I'm just going to kind of read through them. And I do want to say thank you to everyone for being here, and thank you for I'm thankful for the labor that went into putting this on, and it's really great to read with friends, some old and some new. All these poems are the same title. All the TV shows are about cops. Perhaps if your captor knows their way around a hardwood floor, and a pair of kicks so white they ascend upon being kicked into the dark well. Perhaps if they once stole a toothbrush from the corner store up some block that looked like your block, and perhaps if they massaged the soles of their shoes with it until the white leapt back to life during a rainy season. Maybe if your captor has good hair and the pick points somewhere north, if your captor was the architect of a mean mix and the tape rocked out of a boombox, bouncing into a house party perched on a shoulder like a patient and merciful sparrow, if your captor keeps a gold rope chain in their top drawer for the nights they are not beholden to the uniform of empire. If your captor loves their mama or your mama, the distance between love and the ability to punish is a matter of perspective, says your captor, who loves the hood and sharpens their teeth along its borders. Maybe if your captor once carved their name into the brick of a building and then came to love the building more than the people in it, consider that your captor is as heartbroken as you have been once. And so what is a little blood or a cage? If you and your captor wail in the same tongue, they will say, perhaps it won't matter from where the wailing began. All the TV shows are about cops. I crave instead the long shot of the weary hustler at the blood-red doorway between evening and night, reaching a hand for the cold metal of a fridge that hums with its own emptiness. Yes, I have felt the sigh of the cop who goes to a comfortable house and dreams of the forest, pulsing with branches bent into what must look like gang signs to someone with a racing heart and an eager trigger. No, I will take the shot of the hustler in a room lit by a single lamp. I will take the shot from overhead that tells us the hustler is placing their stash in a box, or feeling, again, that merciful weight of a gun with all its bullets still tucked like flower buds in the fist of a curious child. If there is a way to get your paper in America without knowing that the getting of your paper might kill you, then I don't want to know it. And my boys hustled because our parents came home and sat in driveways with the car engine still on, like they were daring themselves towards another, better highway. The shot I crave is the hustler reaching into their pockets and pulling out an entire block's worth of balled up bills that just someone's insurance money that just came in, but not for long. Someone's college fund for the kid who fixed their jump shot when the recruiters came to town. A fistful of gentle thefts. I want the shot where the hustler pushes the money into another hand and someone who loves them kisses the white ash from their knuckles. I was thinking about The Wire, which is a show I like a lot. And I don't know if anyone here has seen The Wire, but there's that iconic scene in the first season, I think it's the first season, where Carver, who is the cool cop, jumps on top of the car and yells at the neighborhood. So here's a poem about that. All the TV shows are about cops. You can always tell which police officer is supposed to be the cool one by the way the cigarette dangles between their cracked fingers, or by the way the cigarette smoke dances along a diamond ring, or by the platinum chain their badge swings from, by the whip they push through the back alleys they grew up on. You can tell the cool cop by how they know the older brothers of dope boys and don't drop government names when yelling out a tinted window. How they keep the elbow angled just right when shooting ball. The way coaches who circled the hood taught them on a court lined with needles and broken glass. You can tell the cool cop by the way they eyeball the stash. Don't even need to keep a scale. Say fuck the interrogation. There is no truth that doesn't reflect itself in blood. Can tell by the song that plays when they put the siren on top of the Benz. Something you maybe heard sliding around along the leather back seat of an OG's ride. Know the exact way to order a sandwich at the corner spot and who to ask for the dirt. It is so seductive to blur the line between beloved and executioner. Not afraid to take the dirty money as long as street niggas don't forget who ain't doing a bid behind a stray bullet. I admit, back in the day, I loved the moment Carver leapt atop the Nissan Sentra in his black kicks and baggy jeans and offered a sermon of threats to the boys hiding somewhere in the concrete forest. The way his mouth undressed the slang in its familiar comfort when he yelled, "You do not get to win, we do." This poem's on New Jack City, the movie, not the Bow Wow album. Although I imagine few people remember the Bow Wow album, so.
Always remember that Bow Wow.
All the TV shows are about cops. You are supposed to want Nino Brown dead after the wedding. In the brief moment when he swings the flower girl over his face while the bullets from his enemies make a procession of dust along the chapel steps, when he sets the girl down in front of her dying father, bleeding from a solar system of dark wounds, you might for a moment wish for the undercover cop to pull the trigger, but I have loved the dealer who prayed to unzip themselves into a child when drowning in a sea of shouts and sirens. I have loved those who wore soft red bruises left by handcuffs like an ancestor's riches. When Nino flings the doors of the van open on Thanksgiving and the hood flocks to get turkeys, the idea is not about goodness. He who feeds the streets must feed the streets. I most want the undercovers dead when I peep how easy it is for them to slither between worlds, to vanish from the comforts of the state and reappear in an underworld of silk and white powder. The hood cheered when the plainclothes cop threw Nino from the penthouse balcony and into the pile of trash bags, his bloody mouth whimpering through the metaphor. Consider the moment of the cop, mask off, whispering, "I want to shoot you so bad, my dick's hard," with a gun shaking inches from the dealer's face. It seems desire is the axis, the child trembling inside all of us, screaming at whatever we've become. All the TV shows are about cops. The psychic with the glowing windows next to the pizza shop tells me the thing about the end of the world is that it already happened before you were born. So I wander through the poison leaves of the forest. From my bare, cupped hands, I drink from the brown river that divides downtown Columbus between the haves and the have-nots. It is easy to understand why America so loved the photo of tear gas winding its way around Season's greetings hanging over a street in Ferguson, packed with cops in riot gear. Somewhere beyond the baton severing of winter's chill and the glass being kissed into webs, one might be able to imagine a family placing boxes underneath a tree, wearing matching sweaters, and watching another movie about ghosts. America loves its contrasts, but never its history. The blades that feast their way through the tree's bark remember only the sweetness of collapse, not the joyful gathering, not the ornaments hand-painted by someone who survived the riot generations before the one howling at these doorsteps. Greetings to this new season of the bandana in the back pocket and then swinging from a once familiar face. I breathe in the scent of my own living to avoid the cars on fire, the way the eyes burn themselves shut. A seasonal greeting to the way my heart ghosts its own rhythm when I text, "I love you, please tell me you're safe," and hear nothing back in the time it takes for a person to be pulled from a car's open window, to the worry that parks itself beneath the skin of my palms. My homie ran for a fence with a stolen cell phone in his pocket and didn't hear the cop yelling before he heard the gun go off, or maybe there was no yelling at all. Witnesses say one sound can be swallowed by another, louder sound. Somewhere beyond, a family places a box underneath a tree and begins to shovel the already ended earth, wondering if this is all the apocalypse has to offer. This is my last poem. I really appreciate everyone not only reading, but tuning in. And I've been thinking a lot as someone who's just perpetually anxious all the time, who was anxious before this and will be anxious in newer, more vicious ways after it, undoubtedly. I'm really hoping that folks are finding ways to connect with their people or find their people and hear the voices of their people. You know, I'm thinking especially of my fellow anxious and depressed folks, but also everyone. So I hope there's been ways for people to kind of reach along this distance that we are being kind of placed in and find their people and talk to them. Thank you so much for listening to me tonight. I'm so honored to be here reading with so many people I care deeply about. All the TV shows are about cops. I miss ritual more than I miss religion. It is good to have somewhere to be in a song that carries you there, to drift into a dream while bent, face pressed to the ground. The carpet in my grandfather's house smelled like the cigarettes he told my mother he'd long sworn off. Pray not to God, but to the lies your people tell each other to survive. If there is a heaven, let it be a heaven not of people, but a heaven of those lies, breathing beyond the people who told them across the table or gently blew them into an ear. A heaven of cigarette butts in the shape of a heavy white beard, a heaven of cash and cars and gold rings. If my myths outlive me, I carve out a corner of heaven for the lies I've told with a flashlight in my eyes or beaming into my car. I carve out a corner for the way I treated the black judge like kin while he scanned my record and considered a sentence. More than I miss religion, I miss how easy it is to be forgiven when the altar beckons 5 times a day. A corner of heaven for the Arabic I've tripped over on a path to forgiveness. A corner for the imagined girlfriends turning over in my brain during the silent prayers, the moans pushed into the worn down prayer rug. Even my pleas are lies. Even when I know what I've done, I can't bring myself to speak its name. No one thinks God would wear a badge or spend a Sunday cleaning weapons while people fainted into the aisles of a church in the name of something holy. I don't believe in God as much as I believe in an interrogation room. I believe in someone placing a loaded gun on a metal table between me and a door. And who gets to be God then? Would God be the bullet or the table or the door? But maybe I'm getting too caught up in the romantics of power again. All the police officers in my hood went to church in the mornings and helped old women up the stairs and into their pews before receiving the word. Cleanliness is a soft palm which turns a face towards its righteous path, and so keeping the streets clean is an act of God. No one thinks God would push a face into the mud while saying, "You want to die today, nigger," so the onlookers can't hear. Maybe we're all playing dress up and paying our tithes where we can. Maybe there is no devil and just 100 different ways to be the wrong kind of God. Maybe if enough candles light the concrete's blood, someone might mistake these memorials for a type of prayer. Thank y'all so much.
I don't even, oh my gosh, y'all clap it up, snap it up, shout it up. Honey, thank you so much. There are too many lines. I was trying to keep up with the lines and now I'm just like, but more than any of that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for donating your time and for pouring into this community of artists and writers. You are so beloved. You are so beloved to me. Thank you so much. And I hope that being in this space is making, doing your heart and all of our hearts just a little bit of good. A little bit earlier in the chat, you all, Hanif dropped a link for supporting Ohioan. Is that how you saw people from? I don't know.
Ohioan.
Ohioan, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
from Georgia, 49th.
I'll put the link again if people want to see it.
Perfect. 49th out of 50 in public education. It's not my fault, I'm sorry. But Ohioan folks, and if you, if that's something that you all have capacity for, please do support folks in Hanif's hood and I like to think that we're all in each other's hoods right now because we are at home. So yes, please, if you can. And if you can't, cycle a link. You never know what a retweet will do, what a post will do, sending it to that one auntie that gets on your nerves, but you want her to think that you're a good person. So you let her know all the causes that you support. I don't know, just me, maybe. Thank you so much again, Hanif. I can't, and I'm not gonna, and I don't know if you can, you all, but I can't. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 5-minute break. And in that 5-minute break, you can continue to chat it up in the chats. And when I say 5 minutes, it's probably gonna be like 3 or 4 minutes because I'm too excited to continue tonight. But we're just gonna take a second for all of our readers to grab some water because they've been sitting in the same spot for the past hour. And you yourselves at home, beloved, get some water too. My good friend Sophia is always talking about staying hydrated, even when the walls crumble down. So I want you to do that. Get a snack, follow somebody that you met in the chat on Twitter consensually, and we'll be right back in about 3 to 5 minutes. All right, cool. And folks in the video chat, y'all can talk to each other. This is a discussion from yesterday. It's a very non-official sort of like space for the next couple minutes. Mm-hmm.
I have 4 minutes, right?
Yep.
All right, I'll be right.
Rachel, stop. Well, thanks you all.
Love you.
Love you, girl.
This is I really needed this.
No, I've cried twice, so we're doing great. I'm very appreciative. This has been so wonderful.
Thank you for all of this. Thank you.
No, thank you for coming.
You're mine.
I just be tweeting, Rachel. I just be tweeting, talking shit.
It's never just.
I'm already talking about some. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's the truth.
Well, pretty soon you need to post more of your photos. You know what I'm talking about. You know which kind of photos I'm talking about.
My nudes.
Woo! Yes. Bring us all back to life.
I was here like, wait, did I post news on Twitter? Ooh.
There it was, but I was like, ooh, this is my birthday.
You're right, I did. That was Instagram. That was when
That's right. Yes.
When the article came out on Teen Vogue about fat phobia, I was like, I'm a show the leg.
Just a little leg.
Okay, I said we was gonna take a break and then I forgot what time I said that. I
took the quickest break in my entire life. In and out.
You did great. You're doing great. Okay. So let's give it 2. We're gonna give it 2. Ooh.
Is that yours?
Anif read and I feel like my hair wrap just slipped. It's just not stable anymore. My edges is gone. There's nothing underneath this.
Don't lean too much.
I'm just like trying to hold it down.
I got mine down with a special little thing, everything in there.
Yeah, when he was talking about I don't know if you're there, Andy, but when he was talking about the hair, I was like, well, first of all, these are pants. These are pants on my head because my head wrap didn't even help. So,
but excellent.
I don't want to hear nobody's mouth.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough moment for many of us.
There are pants on my head. That's what we,
I had no idea, even though I'm pretty sure I've seen those.
You, yeah.
I had no idea until you said that. I was like, okay.
You see these on my body. And I had to put them on my head.
Wait,
2
I've
minutes
been looking
before
at
the show started.
I've been looking at it like this scarf looks familiar, but
So basically what you're saying is you know how to like, you a fashionista, you know how to do all the things.
You know, when in doubt. When in doubt. Zoe was gonna do a demonstration. My partner, for everyone in the chat, I know all 100 people are like, what the hell? Zoe was gonna do a demonstration of washing hands, but I forgot how much time. Okay, so we're back. It's 8:25 in my time. So it's probably been 5 minutes. I'm so sorry about that. I just feel like everyone needed to take a deep breath, just go get some water and stuff. All right, we back in the chat. I see a little less people than who was here before, but they're coming back. All right, I was worried. They're on their way back in. I didn't want anyone to get left behind. Hey y'all, we here. Owen said, forget about everybody else. We here. Okay, all right, cool. If you are in the chat, drop your favorite color. I'm really pretending like come on, lavender, cool. Lots of purple, y'all royal as hell. Red, rubber plant green. Somebody's in Thailand and it's 8:25 a.m. Commitment to poetry, and we love to see it. And let that be our segue. Welcome back, everyone. It's 8:25 in Thailand, so we're gonna keep it right on moving into our next reader. I'm so excited. Another homie lover friend. Oh my God, y'all in for such a treat. Faylita Hicks. We've already read. I was about to go into your bio again, girl. All right, so you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, woo-woo in the chat. Y'all already know what to do. Y'all clap it up for Faylita Hicks.
Hey, so I've basically been working nonstop this entire time. We've been trying to get people out of our local county jail day in and day out with all the things that have been happening, which basically means that I haven't had a lot of time to do much else except for think about how to save the most people. And so all the work I'm going to read tonight is new work. It's work I've been working on for the last several months for a new project, but I wanted to kind of be on theme tonight because what's happening is real and I have to acknowledge that personally. So the first poem I'm going to read is called On Being Buried in the Hayes County Jail. I only remember what little was left of my words falling out of me into pale sheets stapled and stiff. Meeting my maker on a tiny TV screen, my chin tacked to my chest, my lips falling off of me. I let them misname me. But what else could I have done? I only remember unfolding exponentially, an infinite scream dressed in gallows of orange, a pillar of smoke floating from one hole to the next. Here, I was more than a fetish. I was a recipe. Something savory and comforting in the cold. Everyone knew me from somewhere. I only remember staring into the gray muscle of this pauper's house, a roach breeding in its ventricle, soothing itself in the semi-dark. Grafting my wounds with wool and ink, I fractured by the hour, knowing there would be more of me soon enough. I only remember the feral way I dug down, looking for a way out, publicly acceptable forms of suicide, any dignified version of self-mutilation, any pithy metaphor other women could learn from. When they read about my death in the paper, I daydreamed about bridges and highway lanes and I could drift across, lift off and scatter, always on a sunny day, always on a weekend, always with a big blue sky. I dreamed. I swallowed gallons of salt water down, swallowed until I didn't have to anymore, until my body relaxed and my eyes stared at the bluest black and I sank amongst the bodies of 1,000 unexcavated pearls that passively strangled the pulp and nape of the Guadalupe River. I remembered how even as a girl, I had known I would lay at the bottom, a secret or a salt puddle beneath the city, a spill of oil, unseen and untouched and gone. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about some heavy stuff, I think. So yeah, This next one is called Mama Dirtmouth Speaks to the District Attorney About Her Sons. Something important about this is that I wrote this poem probably back in November. And I wrote it because I had a feeling, I was like, the way that you treat people is so disgusting in America that eventually Mother Nature is gonna have to come back and say something. And so this was a poem I had written about Mother Nature coming back to say something. And I thought it was appropriate for tonight and what we are all experiencing right now. So, when slit open, I seep through, clinking to the artillery because I'm gonna start over. I'm sorry guys, it's been a long day. When slit open, I seep through, clinging to your artillery, because I am as much a garden as I am my ancestors' weapon. A box of shadow and blood you mistook for soup. Can't you feel me? Buck and boil through your body, a leather tongue scraping you thin from the inside. Don't you know I loiter in the skin as smoke? I tug and tug at your little ass neck, making sure you can't breathe without me. I grin in metal fence, a trim of green, a gum of soil and weed, a signature foliage, canvassing your hood in the mask of heaven, but I'm nasty, man. When I'm angry, haven't you learned me by now? Felt the weight of my metal burying into your body, cutting loose the ghost of skin barely hanging between my legs. Haven't you seen me in the news? I catch bodies, all kinds. Haven't you heard me screaming your name? Haven't you smelt my cordite slipping through? I'm hungry, man. The next time I eat, I'm thinking of you. I had what I thought I wanted to share with you guys. I'm gonna go into one, and then I'm gonna end out with one last one. ARCO. I work with a group called Mono Omega. We're a very small grassroots organization based in a rural county in Texas. And we were started because we were trying to focus specifically on people who were being deported and immigrants. And then we had to move over because SB4 in Texas doesn't allow us to specifically stop certain things with ICE. So this is a shout out to the wonderful people I've met and the stories I've learned, not just from them, but from my own experiences, and it's called ARCO. You cannot call us by our dead names, my sister yells to the Border Patrol agent. In just a few hours, she becomes like lavender in the desert. She still exists, but no one knows. Her name only finds me later in an email from La Lucha, Ni Una Muerta Más. I count the bevy of screaming stars that haunt the road, leading me away from the city. A blister of light hovering above me as I drive through the bitter canvas of the Sonoran Desert. Where I am going, there are no guarantees, except one. My sister left because of the flood. How the women here grew up from the ground, row after row of bleached crosses and yellow roses. She headed out to find higher ground, but her body was a weapon against her. Her body, in an accurate design, they say, what you don't swallow, you spill. She spilled into the hungry and familiar dirt and spilled into the hands of the poleros and spilled until she was gone. It is difficult for me to know exactly when I became the valley, a facility of ghosts, starved for heated flicks, the mouths of someone else's sons. It is hard to recall the ways in which we were the same. She, more like my father, heft with pride. I've always been a burden of hours, a flesh-dense memory of my mother's ichor. I was always the language of lost time, a percolating wound, driving through some state or another. Whatever my mother could have been, it lives in me. I have got the burden of us both in my body, and I was born like this. A crochet concoction of a woman pulling on me, pulling on she, pulling on whatever it was she was before me, a breed of immaculate violence, a woman evaporating in the belly of yet another greedy night. I didn't want to know that to be a woman is to always be heavy with someone else's sons. Some who have my mother's chin or my father's knuckles, who have matted fur curving the spoons of their backs, our hook-shaped cocks, our wine-dipped breast, our steadfast sweat, who sleep with escazul stiff in their throats, who glow in the after sun after me in the desert. My sisters and I slid up against each other like coins in each other's pockets. Different shades, but similar values. The more sun we swallowed, the more sun swallowed us. A flex of woman. I patrolled the lip of a country tired of my mud-caked face. Hovering over the trail of my own salt and demise, I became a task of breath, a bridge of flesh and brine, turning back to watch everything in California burn. I was a woman, am now an arc, remembering exactly where my sisters sank beneath the ruins of themselves, a cloud of unclasped bras and empty pockets. We travel south, southwest, north, northeast, listening to each other drip in the silence of the land in between. And I have one last one for you guys. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Ariel, for letting me be here. And I'm so happy that I got to be a part of this. I really needed it. It's been hard. It's been real hard. I'm not gonna cry. It's been real hard. A lot of things. But we got 123 people out of the Hayes County Jail yesterday. Bodies out. That's all I have to say about that. So, foreign bodies. You cannot tell me there is nothing wrong with the weather. Scientists discovered a new species of flying, flesh-toned fish flushed out from a hole in the earth of Kurdistan, almost exact a year after a photographer discovered the pronate body of Alan Kurdi flushed out from a hole in the earth of Turkey. Almost 4 years before, a journalist discovered the pronate bodies of Oscar Ramirez and Angie Valeria flushed out from a hole in the earth of Texas this past Sunday. The origins of this new species of fish are widely speculated, essentially unknown, but it is clear to me they are proliferating underground. You cannot tell me that there is nothing wrong with the weather. I digested this data and disintegrated on a molecular level. Am now an ironic history of black heat, coaxing out your air and tearing through your defined shape. I have become the hidden hyphen, strangling the ice of your waist and shredding. There is something wrong with the weather, with my mouth, a silhouette of mud. I've swallowed men for millennia, am now a register of cyclical genders, flushing out sex from a queer hole in my body. To say I am unknown is to say I am in flux, sucking on all the names and waterlogged roots, dissoluble in the hinge of my black blue skin, both vessel and vision. I have become a fish and a woman and ready to die, a hurricane in the heart. My species survives, our wilted crowns bent at the center as green wave after green wave swaddles itself around our necks to bruise deep and distinctive. Listen to us, bubble up and scratch our heads against the open air, whistle and arc. Awash along the thinning coast are our bodies, once lost in the sway of the ocean, a ribbon along the white shore of this man's land, a flush of color. We have always been going or coming with the tide. You cannot tell me there is nothing wrong with the weather. I can feel it in my jaw. The thirst for copperton sediment and meat fresh from the dying fields. Can't you feel it? California can't stop shaking. What it knows runs back and forth beneath the surface. A beast of ruin, gnawing on our dead. The fires of paradise chew through the face of the state. Smokes out the menagerie of darkened bodies that clog its ancient streets with gangs of amen. To camp on the floor of this wild, can't you feel it? Greenland is melting. The yellow milk swished from its mouth out into the ocean is enough to feed the world's hungry with salt and suspended silt. When you turn from yourselves to see your cities burning, do you not melt? Am I the only one on fire? Texas is drowning. The flooded borders overcome with waves of help us, help us, help us, congeals into cement puddles large enough to float and swallow our country of survivors. Are we not now all wet? Is my body the only one still gasping for air? You cannot tell me there is nothing wrong with the weather. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you all. I'm still digesting that last line. You cannot say there's nothing wrong with the weather. Oh, Felita, thank you so much for always bringing us back to what is so important, and for offering work that it just gets to my gut every time. It just gets me right in the girl. Thank you so much. And I want to say, because you brought it in, that there's so much political work. There's so much political, we're in such a highly politicized moment. And I think that there's often not commercial, but I think that I hear so much like the platitudes and what government and all these other folks are saying. I think what folks are doing on the ground in real time is so important. So thank you for lifting that up. Thank you for the folks who are making sure to free 123 people out that jail, and every single person needs to be out. I heard some folks in the chat say free them all. We got to say free them all. So, and we have to free them all. So I just appreciate all of the organizers. If you're on the chat, if you're watching right now, if you're at home on YouTube or on Zoom, and you are an organizer, thank you for being on the front lines. And my partner is in the health world, and was talking today about how all of the language that we're hearing is, like kind of positioning a virus or a pandemic itself as our opponent, and how morally corrupt it is to humanize or personify such a thing as a virus. And what we're really up against is the failures of institutions for the people. And what we're really up against is the failures of people in power for us. And so thank you. I'm gonna go on forever if I don't shut up now. So thank you so much for reminding us of that who we're really up against is the system that, puts folks in cages and doesn't let them out, and a system that doesn't take care of those along the most, who are of the most marginalized. And thank you for doing that work, sis. We really appreciate you. And they affirming you all up and down in the thread. So I hope you get a chance to look at that. Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop rambling because justice and equity is important to me, but that's for another time. Or now is the time, but we're gonna keep going. There's so much I can say, sis, but I'm gonna say thank you. If you have it, please drop what you can. Felida's Cash App information is up. It's just $ Felida Hicks. If you are looking for other places to support non-financially, if there's other organizations that you are looking to support, I know that Felida, I know that Alan, I know that Hanif and so many other people were dropping a lot of gems of like people who are organizing all over the country on their Twitter, and maybe some of those can make their way to the chat. We'll make sure to share some resources too, because I think now more than ever, we're finding out that we are all we got. Truly, we are who we got. So enough rambling from me. I'm so excited. It's a great segue to another person who is doing so much critical and necessary work around the body and around Blackness and around desire and so many other things. I'm really excited to hear what you got. My homie and y'all's homie and just a wonderful person. Tiana, where you at? Looking like Madame Zeroni in the best way.
I know. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Y'all woo it up in the chat. Thank you so much. And we take it away.
Hi. Thank you, Elle. Thank you, Elle. Thank you, Elle. Thank you, everyone who has read. Thank you, everybody who is here with us reading and also just being present in the chat. Wow, now that it's close up on me, I am in my bed. I am in the comfort of my bed where I sleep and rest. Hello, these are my pillows. Cool. So I have some poems. I suddenly feel nervous, but I'm gonna work through it. So this first poem I wanted to share is like, one time I ran into an ex when I didn't want to, and just for a little bit more context so it makes more sense. He was trash and he left me in a really hard time and tried to apologize to me. And while he was apologizing, he was like, just slap me. He was like, just hurt me back. And so this is where that poem comes from. October 31st, 2017. Slap me. I'm sorry. Slap me. Please slap me. Slap me. He means return the favor. Give me my wounds back, my love. I know my hands to be meager, nourishing parcels. Will turn bandage if I touch him. Slap me means I still need you. Let me break you. Do you still have blood for me? See me sacrifice. Pull from this vessel my vitality. An embryo. Imagine a child with our faces. How could we have named them anything other than doomed? Slap me. I want to kiss his lips. What masochists we have ravaged ourselves into. Slap me. Imagine him hovering over a small brown diapered child. a carpeted living room, spilled bowls of Cheerios, teaching them to slap box, hands up, protect your face, protect your chest now, slap me. He is more gorgeous than ever, begging me and Father Time to rid ourselves of our principles, to move our hands back. I still manage a moment to love him, see him man, not fully fanged, cut me. I wish to say, hurt me with your hands this time. Pluck my body clean of every strand of hair, wipe me, of my skin and flesh, kill me, like I wish you had, destroy like you always do, turn me scab, turn me last breath, take my bones for gnawing and skin for cloaking, please, please, break me, wash my blood from your mouth, turn monster for me, let your fangs grow to drag across my collarbone, I know this to be the only way to honor you, to hurt you, you must convert me corpse, deliver me to our child, slap me, he says, please, slap me. Finally, I raise my hand in willingness, in exhausted passion, only to watch it spill into the nothing we have still yet to name. All right. So yes, that was the first poem. The second poem is titled How to Bury Me. Yeah. I'm ready to talk about my death now. May this be the one demand about my body that is actually honored. Burn my bones into ashes. Bury them in a saturated pile of dirt. Plant a tree inside of me, an unclimbable tree. My branches out of reach to any man. I want to grow into a forest of redwoods this time. Thinking of a long life is a luxury I do not have. It cost me $222.37 to have swelling in the back of my head, my frontal lobe, to have a mouthful of cuts and pleas, to be mangled into unconsciousness. The man, twice my size in width and in height, threw rocks at me and my sisters after we told him no. And when we confronted him, he tried to smash my face into concrete, watched my head make contact with cement, then kicked my motionless body again. You see, it is not a matter of if I will die, but when. And I don't know why he didn't kill me that night. When I came back to semi-consciousness, I wasn't thankful to be alive. I asked to be taken from this defective shell of a body, this illusion of protection. I asked for a separate heaven, for me and all the women who walk with their headphones in but music off, for the women who always have a hand wrapped around a bottle of pepper spray, for the girls who are always running but can't seem to escape, for the girls who have to decide between taking the long way and walking past a group of men, for the girls, for 12-year-old me, who was still scared to walk home alone at 3 p.m., who is now being followed to her doorstep, down the street, on the train, right into her nightmares. I asked for a separate heaven, a manless sanctuary, one where we do not have to teach our girls how to scream, but all I could imagine was this forest, because everything else I'd like to become has already been touched by a man, and by touched, I mean destroyed. So when I die, I beg to be given back to the earth, to be camouflaged behind vines, tree bark, and a thick, eerie fog that whispers men are not welcome here alive. And for every man we bring down with us, drag a knife down my bark, cover my trunk in their blood, so if their brothers ever stumble upon this forest, they will know that they are not safe here. And for the man who murders me, who unhinges my body, bathes his hands in my blood and swallows my last breath with ease, he must be brought to this forest, buried alive inside a wooden coffin next to my roots, so he knows what it'll feel like to be trapped inside the very thing that will kill him. Ooh. All right, it's gonna, my allergies, y'all. Wow, okay. Wow, yes, these are my poems. I'm not reading the chat right now. I feel mad nervous. Anyways, as we're plugging things, in this time, it's been a really difficult time for all folks, but I wanna plug sex workers right now. I am a sex worker, and I am in community with many sex workers, obviously work with sex workers, and you know, we are taking a really hard hit right now as like, you know, working from home has been quite a challenge and pretty difficult, especially as like people don't have disposable income. So in addition to like, you know, people that you're thinking about giving any resources to, any money to, please think about sex workers when you're thinking about folks to reach out to as well. You know, many of us have turned to sex work for survival. Many of us have turned to sex work to support our families in some kind of way and capacity. And, you know, this time is a difficult time where a lot of us are not having our needs met. And so just wanted to put that out there before I jump into this next poem. So yes. This be the rebellion of my hips. I know you want me clothed, turtlenecked and wholesome. You want me unaware of what power this body brings, but I already know what kind of twerk it takes to conjure up a man's wallet, to make him pull my rent from his paycheck. This be the rebellion of my bruja. Throwing my ass in a circle be a spell that makes men empty their pockets, and this be the rebellion of my tongue. You hear this Black girl speak and say she's so smart, so well spoken for a Black girl in a G-string, and I'm like, yeah, this Black girl can isolate her ass cheeks and speak impeccably. And I see you gawking at me, jaw unhinged by bewilderment, as if Black girls ain't been educated, as if Black girls ain't invent twerking, as if Black girls ain't always had to hustle. I be your local activist, college student, retail associate, and any other underpaid worker by day, an exotic dancer by night. This be the rebellion of my pockets, wallets, and bank accounts. I am no longer in the business of serving men for free. All my labor from emotional to entertainment comes with a price. Every twerk be a prayer for my wealth. My ass always in conversation with God. My body no longer a sacrifice, but an altar, something sacred and worth worship, something to praise, regard as holy, and treat as such. This be the rebellion of my ass clap, a round of applause for me. Every time I shake my ass on my own will, a chain breaks. Men pay to watch me liberate myself, watch me reclaim my body in its entirety, and I know this is what freedom feels like. The only hands touching me are mine, and envy is dancing in the eyes of every man watching, and I admire this body that everyone else has tried to claim and mold into something more respectable, something more hidden and modest. Here I possess all mobility of this body. Here I swallow submission and docility, swallow misogyny and compliance with a double shot of whiskey. Here, my rebellion is a shameless act, and I let it celebrate in all its naked glory as I grind over every beat, underneath all the rain on my stage, my body only covered in sweat and money, while I'm popping my pussy in a headstand. All right, wow. Cool, so I'm gonna end on on my final poem. So that's what you do when you end. Anyways, I wasn't gonna share this poem, but my partner had reminded me that it's necessary, and I'm a bad bitch, even though we're in the house. You can still be a bad bitch in the house. Okay, I'm gonna read the poem. Thank you, Elle, for creating the space. I appreciate you always. I appreciate your love for the community, the communities that you're a part of, your love for Black people, your love for justice, your love for poetry, your love for me. And thank you for allowing me to be here and share my work, and always giving me space. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in from your couches and wherever you are at. Thank you to everybody who has read and going to read. So yes. This is also a draft, a rough draft. Just, all right, that's it. That's the last thing I'm gonna say, and then the poem, and then I'm gone. Okay. My life begins with bruises. Every man I have loved has broken the skin of a woman's cheek. My father and my mother's father, my grandfather and his father. My love for them takes the shape of ignorance as I sing their names like gospel, until I don't anymore. Until I see my birthmarks resemble the family heirlooms. My body a reminder of every knuckle and palm that brought me here. My body a blessing, a trophy. Look, mama, we made it. We went through all of that, and still we all chose to let me breathe. My life begins at the burst of a womb that belongs to a woman who did not send for me. I recognize her as my mother or grandmother or great-grandmother. I bore out of all of them, begging to be nothing like them. I am everything like my mother. My freckles stain the same coordinates on my nose. I see a mirror and she takes up all the space where my face is supposed to be. My stubborn tongue just as unshakable as hers. My anger just as explosive. My passion just as drowning. I love just like her until I don't. My father says I was born out of love. My life does not begin with the truth. His hands know how to hold guns and fists and money and drugs and women who are not my mother and children who are not me. I love my father until I forget his face. This doesn't happen until I break anything that can hold my reflection. And yet he is reflected in the act of breaking. Hearts, ribs, flesh, promises, breaking anything really, except silence. Everything I know about love is a lie, or generations of truths I do not wish to keep. I dispose of them every time I pray for my children to come. May my descendants never know a love like the one I come from. May their love never be a chore. May they never cry at the thought of their birth. May they never be birthed through something, may they be birthed through something other than the force of a man's anger. May they never feel obligated to love the ugly out of someone. May they never feel obligated to love their grandfathers. Thank you.
Yep. Let us think in. Both chats going off, Tiana, both. So I just want you to, when you can read them, please do read them. Thank you so much for that offering. Thank you so much for that tenderness. Thank you for bringing incantations into the work. Folks want to know where they can read more of you. So go ahead and drop them links in that chat. We'll wait. Just kidding. Thank you so much, T. And goddamn, y'all be writing. Y'all be, this is what y'all do with y'all free time? I need to set my weight up. Ooh, honey, she needs to write more.
Oh, you be writing. Don't do that.
That's enough of that. We're putting you back on mute. Thanks so much. Okay, are y'all ready? Have you gotten your life yet? You still got edges left? You got breath in your lungs? You doing all right? Okay, because we got one more reader. And I promise you, you're going to be thanking me. You're going to be thanking me if you ain't already. Just kidding. Alana, I really wish I could reintroduce everyone because they need a moment. They need a reintroduction moment. But when we talk about poetic praxis of politic, okay, alliteration, when we talk about people walking in the world, the way they write their words, when we talk about ritual and practice in our poetry, when we talk about like poetry being more than a balm, but being a way of life and a way to like navigate in a world that tries to quiet us. That is so much of Alana's poetry. And I can't think of a better way to close out tonight than to have this prolific scholar and writer and thinker close us out. Thank you everyone who has joined us. Thank you to the, how many folks on YouTube? Thank you to the 20 some odd, 15 some odd folks on YouTube. Thank you to the almost 100 who are still with us on Zoom. Thank you everyone so much. And thank you, Alana, for closing us out. I'm gonna turn it all the way on over. All right.
Hey, can you hear me? Yeah? Is this a good volume? Okay. Ooh, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. So I'm going to be reading from a poem from my book that came out last month, Intergalactic Travels, and it's about growing up undocumented in the US. So I'm going to start, but before I start, I'm going to light this little leaf of sage, because this poem is the heart of the book and also a little bit of my heart stops every time I read it, so I'm gonna leave this here. So this poem is titled Blackness Embodied Reads the News. In under 2 months, 2 young boys of color have died, and I don't know what to do anymore. Joaquin Luna Jr. was 18 when he died. The New York Times says he committed suicide because he was undocumented. Joaquin left a letter detailing the struggles of undocumentedness. This wasn't suicide though. This empire killed him. This empire is killing all of us. I mean, we are here. Everyone knows we are here. But the law names us illegal. Technically, we have no rights or legal protection. But at any moment, the law can discipline us, punish us. This is to say, the law selects when it wants to author us into existence. Often, I find myself asking, is there a life after fugitivity, or is fugitivity a way of life? These have been the hardest days of my life lately. 2 months and a week after Joaquin's death, Trayvon Martin was killed. Trayvon was a 17-year-old Black boy. In a My Fox Orlando interview, his father tells the camera that Trayvon was just visiting him from Miami. Even for those who can legally travel, their travels are met with sequestration and death. But ain't that the story of Blackness in the Americas? And shouldn't we refuse this story? No longer tolerate it. When Joaquin Luna Jr. died, I was furious and scared. Scared that none of us know how to hold each other because we are too busy avoiding our deportations and deaths. When Trayvon Martin was killed, I felt part of my spirit leave my body, and I haven't seen it return since. I am tired of reading the news. I am tired of our bodies being documented only after death. I am tired of memorials. I am tired of concerned citizens taking action post-death. I'd like all of us to live, please. I want Joaquin Luna Jr. back. I want Trayvon Martin back. I want the world to love us and hold us. It's happened again and again and again. I've lost track of how many Black folk have died. I kept saving their photos on my desktop. Too many photos on my desktop that I kept messing up their names. Couldn't put a name to a face anymore. A few looked like me. Most were darker than me. A lot were younger than me. A lot of girls. I'm scared. I am becoming obsessed with documenting their photographs. They are forgotten so quickly. One of the latest is Nia Wilson. She was an 18-year-old Black girl. In an online elegy, her future is spelled out. She was to own a dance studio. Days after her death, a friend reminds me that though this violence can happen to us at any moment, the violence hasn't happened to us yet. And so we hold one another, whispering into each other's ears, I love you. I love you. I love our people. I keep thinking of Trayvon Martin and Nia Wilson's death. I don't know what it is that I'm fighting for at this moment. I used to think that my biggest problem was being undocumented. It's not. I am learning to be Black in the United States, and it's hard. Mama reminds me that it is also as hard back home, because there, we're not just Black, but we're the Black Indians who survived. And still, Ama assures me that the problem isn't Blackness or Indianness. The problem is a settler's world, particularly settler rage, settler fear, and settler citizenship. I want Joaquin Luna Jr. back. I want Trayvon Martin back. I want Nia Wilson back. I want the world to love us and hold us. My book is multimedia, and I just want to show you the page after that poem. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited, and I feel full of love and light today. I also had a chapbook come out 2 months ago, so I'm going to read a poem from this chapbook. It's called To Love and Mourn in the Age of Displacement. This poem is titled 18 Notes on Love. 1. I walk behind him, study his pace, check if his arms swing to the beat of his step, and scurry to catch up. I remind myself that yes, our love may not be safe, but Black and Indigenous liberation requires risk. 2. We will walk next to each other, close. On the perfect day, the tops of our hands will feel each other's warmth. A new world will begin building. 3. And we will pretend not to notice. There is a lot of pretending not to here. 4. We will talk and laugh. 5. At bars, we pretend there is no trauma. 6. Sometimes we kiss. A peck most likely, or a longer kiss, but only when we can assure that the traffic lights will be our only witnesses. 7. We're gonna get hate crimed. One will joke, as queers of color usually do. 8. We will sin, and we will continue to do so often. 9. Hands will slip underneath t-shirt. Flesh will meet, devour, offer flesh. 10. One of us will open our eyes as we kiss, and that world that started to form will beget new forms of care. 11. We will stand outside, breathing hard or hardly breathing as we examine each centimeter of pupil. 12. The optometrist says that the pupil determines how much light will enter the eye. And this moonlight is mischievous. Why does she insist in having us enter into each other's eyes? 13. After a thorough eye exam, his right hand will delicately move my locks away from my glasses and ask, 14, is it okay if we hold hands all the way tonight? 15, we will hold on to dear life. 16, heteros will brand us as radical, but in a forever era of anti-Blackness, femicides, and other violences, let's be precise and call it living the only way we've known how, as Black, queer, Indian, and for the first time, together. 17, our future is not guaranteed here. 18, and for this reason, we create abundance where we thought there was none. And I'm gonna read one more poem. So I wrote a poem from my book, a poem from my chapbook, and then this poem, it's like, I don't know what it's for, but it gives me life. It's called A Daily Prayer. And this is for Yasera Gatini, my best friend, and for my mother, both undocumented Black women. A Daily Prayer. God wears glow-in-the-dark acrylic nails. Her favorite color is obsidian black. She's lactose intolerant and is tired of femme exploitation. God buys gold hoop earrings at Dollar Tree and ain't afraid to wear eyelash extensions for 2 weeks straight, even if the package reads one time use only. God says hi to everyone the moment she boards public transit. And after she's seated, she speaks loudly into her phone while munching on hot Cheetos. God carries a plastic bag with quarters, pennies, and her passport, because she knows most of her followers ain't shit, and removal proceedings are always already a possibility. God orders $1 fries, $1 cheeseburgers, and $1 drinks at fast food restaurants, because a girl needs to live, and sometimes thriving looks like surviving. God checks her eyebrows on her phone every 2 hours and licks her index finger to realign each hair particle before meeting up with the girls. God walks into Metro PCS every 3 days for water damage services because she's too often weeping onto her Android the deaths of Black girls. God has hired a personal stylist because she don't know no more how to be simultaneously ready for a funeral, court hearing, birthday celebration, anniversary dinner, and the club all in the same day. God has a Twitter account with 36 followers. And it's aight, because she follows 794,000 folk, and they all Black femmes, and the 36 that follow her hold her so that she can hold the rest of the world. Thank you for having me. Thank you for witnessing. All right, I'm done.
Oh my gosh, you all clap it up, woo-woo in the chat. Alon, thank you so much for that offering, and thank you for that image of a Black femme, fab, ghetto ass, loving ass God. And I think that's a perfect way to end things. You all, I'm just so appreciative. Thank you so much to all of our readers. Thank you to Kay Yolande Barrett. Thank you, Portia Olayiwola. Thank you, Rachel McGibbons. Thank you to our feature, Hanif Abdurrahib. Thank you so much to Faylita Hicks, Tiana Bratcher, and of course, thank you to our closer, Alon Peleas. You all have been an amazing audience. Them chats was lit. I'm so appreciative to all of you. Please scroll up and make sure you capture those links to all of those different things, to the books, to Kay's book, to Alon. Alon, if you could drop the link for your chat book and your full length into the chat. There's so many places for us to give our time and our energy. And I think what I'm going to be walking away from this and thinking about in the upcoming days is how I can pour into the people who poured into me. And if that means dropping a text to someone who you're thinking about, saying, hey, how you doing, to someone on Twitter, or reminding an author whose work has kept you alive, that their work has kept you alive. In these times, I think all of the normals that we have, or the normals that we've been conditioned to fall in line with, are being destroyed. There are no norms. And so I think it's an invitation to imagine what else is possible. And it's scary as shit. I'm not gonna lie, but it's also really exciting to know that a tweet can mean you get to gather with your most beloved niggas and your mentors and your idols and your friends and make some really powerful poetry, beautiful shit happen. And so maybe that'll encourage you to be a little bit more radical in all the ways that you practice intimacy as we continue to be at our homes, kicking it for the next couple of days. We're a little bit over time, so I thank everyone for sticking with us. My name is Ariel Marie. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you to all of our readers once again. Please continue to love on each other and love on yourselves, and be very gentle with yourselves. Please rest. Please drink water. Please take breaks. Please don't pay rent, or do pay rent, or fight the power, or take another nap. Whatever you are able to do at this time is enough. And I'm really appreciative to all of you. I love all of you. And
thank you, Ariel.
Any chance tomorrow, if you want to come back tomorrow, we'd love to have you. Thank you, everyone. Be well. Good night. I'm so bad at goodbyes. I'm going to keep
Good night,
talking.
everybody.
Everyone's gone.
For all your time.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
No one wants to be the first one to leave.
Yeah,
I know, we're all just like.
everyone. This was really great. It was really great to read with all y'all. I really loved hearing all your work. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hanif.
Y'all get safe. Take care.
Y'all gonna be like a church where we say bye 1,000 times and nobody go? Okay, that's cool.
Like when you go to grandma's house.
We'll just see y'all back tomorrow. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll drop the link for tomorrow. Good night. I love y'all. Tiana, you just gonna stay? I ain't mad at you, T.
I miss you so
I miss you too. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna FaceTime you. Good night, Rachel.
Hey, get